How are you? Thanks for watching. My name is Ariel Johnson, and I'm here sitting with Mr. Balogun, Rakem Balogun, and welcome to 40 Acres News Media. So today, we're very excited to announce it, and the only reason why I'm able to sit here with this gentleman right now is because he has been released. Thank you. If you recall the story, when was it, Rakem, in December?
Yes, December the 12th to be exact.
Okay. You want to run through those events quickly about what happened? Brothers and sisters watching this is the brother that had been identified as the Black Identity Extremist and actually hauled off to a federal prison here in Texas, in Seagoville. I believe was it the Black Atlanta Star newspaper, the first story to break the...
I believe the first story was foreign policy. It might have been Black Atlanta. Hey, I was locked up, so
right.
I only know what my network informed me. But I believe it probably was either foreign policy or Black Atlanta Star.
Okay, great. I was shocked myself when I found out about it. I found out about it through my connection to the Pan-African story. And I was shocked that none of the other black newspapers had covered the story. I was shocked and a bit disappointed that the first black newspaper I heard of to cover the story about you being locked up was the Atlanta Black Star, Atlanta Star, out in Atlanta. Definitely not in Texas.
Right.
So I wanted to ask you if we can go over the events a little bit in terms of how they were able to carry you off to a federal. How did they prosecute you? How did they find you guilty? Guilty of what?
Okay. Well, initially, like I said, the raid was December the 12th.
Right.
They came, they raided my house. They had a warrant out for me and my firearms that I possessed. Immediately after the raid, they rushed me to a federal courthouse downtown Dallas to see a magistrate judge dealing with bond, okay, to see what I'll be able to get out while pending charges. Well, they denied my bond, and the reason why they said that they denied my bond, that I was a threat to society. And what made me a threat to society was, one, that I had firearms. Two, they used Facebook posts where I was not I didn't empathize with police officers who were being gunned down. Also, they also used a protest I was at back in 2015 in Austin, and they used the video footage from there to deny me bond. So immediately, once I was denied bond, I was taken to a jail that was southwest of Dallas. I resided at that jail for about 2 weeks. Then in the middle of the night, around 3 o'clock in the morning, they came and got me and removed and took me to another jail that was on the southeastern side of Dallas. And I remained there for the rest of the 5 months that I did left in, pending my trial. Now,
let me ask you a quick question. Excuse me for interrupting you,
sure.
but every time you were moved, was your family or those people in touch with you, with your organization? Were they contacted immediately?
No, the reason why they move us the way they do is because they don't want us to be able to communicate with our family members. And they don't want them knowing prior to we move. They want us to communicate with them after we move. And so, they waited till, the phones was cut off and to tell me that I was moving that night to another facility in Seagoville, Texas. And initially, I was in Mansfield, Texas at that federal facility. So, yes, once I got to Seagoville, I was pending trial. Shortly after I got there, I'll say 2 weeks later, my attorney filed a motion to dismiss my indictment based off of the charge that the feds were saying that made me prohibited of having a firearm was too vague and not legitimate. And so we filed that motion to dismiss the indictment January 24th. It took all the way till May 1st, you know, for my judge to rule on the motion. Now keep in mind, this was a pre-trial motion. Right. So at this time, I still have not pleaded guilty. I've still pleaded innocence. And this was a motion to have this situation and this indictment and this case in general thrown out before even making the trial. And so, you know, it took 5 months of us arguing our position on my previous case, which the feds used to say I was prohibited. And what we was arguing was that, one, the previous case that the feds was using was a family violence case. And with the family violence, the way the law works, if you have committed assault on anyone that's a family member, that makes you prohibited of having a firearm. Well, what we was arguing is that I never committed assault with a family member. Pretty much what it was emotional and intellectual force. And to sum that up, pretty much verbal disagreement. You know, we just had a verbal contradiction. And so we argued that us having a verbal contradiction and, let's just say hypothetically speaking, you know, clenching my fist and gritting my teeth is not the same as two concrete bodies, you know, striking each other or assaulting each other. And so, you know, we quoted a lot of different case laws to support it. We used the Councilman the Councilman case, United States versus Councilman. We used United States versus Methodist and United States versus Harold. Those were the three main cases, even though we quoted more cases in our motions, which supported our stance. And so, you know, after, you know, 5 long months, you know, of the judge, you know, pretty much doing reconnaissance on my case and doing case law studies on the other cases that we quoted to make sure that we was quoted in the right context. He saw things our direction. He dismissed my indictment, and I was able to get out as a free man, not a convicted felon. I'm still able to have firearms, and, you know, and my innocence is still solid.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. You seem very calm right now. Okay, I unfortunately was not able to be with you the day that you were released or the following day. Mm-hmm. So what is it that keeps you calm, knowing that for you to be released as easily as you were, there's a possibility that, you know, maybe you didn't need to be there at all. However, time has been lost. So what keeps you calm about the time that's been lost? Because you are a very organized person, you have an organization, you're a leader of your organization, and your people love you. Mm-hmm. And when the leader is taken away, as I mentioned to your son when I had an opportunity to interview you, that's how you are able to infiltrate mm-hmm. and break down the good that someone has done.
Right.
So it's just to narrow my question down to you. What keeps you calm? What helped you to keep your head while you were there and calm now that you're out about the time that was lost?
Well, what keeps me calm is, one, that this was a victory, you know, not for me, but for the Black nation, and a victory even bigger than the Black nation. It was a victory for those who believed in the First Amendment, you know. It was a victory for those who believe in the Second Amendment also. And so, and it was a victory for, you know, the Black community, because I work in the interest for the Black community, you know, and that's where, you know, my heart is at. And it's not just limited to there, but all working class people. And so, you know, also, this was also a great moment for the Black community to learn from this. One, it warned other activists to be aware of being surveillanced and not known, because I was surveillance for 2 years, under surveillance, didn't know it. Two, I hope my situation is a situation where all organizations and individuals can learn from it, because this is modern day counterintelligence program at its finest, and so we can continue to move forward and be as flawless as possible. Also, it shows that the desperation of the federal government just to neutralize our movement and our progress, and it also tells us that obviously something we're doing is effective to where it's a threat to tyranny, and so I'm able to stay so calm because this 5 to 6 months was a 5 to 6 months of watching the community as well as my organization perform well through a test. It was a test of our patience, a test of our commitment, and a test of our dedication. And the organization, the community did very well of withstanding the federal government scrutiny, and for us to come out on top of this situation. I'm just proud to be a part of this. All praises go to God, as well as the community, the black community, the black nationalist community. It wasn't just black community, but I had a lot of white supporters. I'm very thankful for that. Also, just the organization, from locally here in Dallas all the way to national. It was a lot of people played a strong role of keeping my morale together at the top. I received numerous letters while I was in prison, as well as finances, people sending me pictures and of different signs they have made to say free Rakem. So the people on the outside help keep me 100% intact mentally and not to break down. And not only that, I never felt like that I was locked up by myself the whole time. I felt like that I had the black community with me, and aiding me along the whole way. So it was definitely a great victory. I did lose my job, I lost my apartment. I've lost other, financial things, but at the same time, those were just, monetary things. But the win that we got out of this was priceless, And two, what we hope is that other activists and other people that are in the community, as those who want to intervene and make a change, we hope that they see this situation and allow this to encourage them to keep going up against the grain, because we do know that, us pushing for freedom, liberation, and for us to determine our own destiny within our community is an uphill battle. And so, we definitely want to make sure that the masses understand to be prepared to embark on that uphill battle.
I'm glad that you just made a mention of what you've lost, those material things, and that you understand that you can always regain those things.
Yes.
So basically what I wanted you to be aware of, well, you were already aware of it, that we kind of sort of limited ourselves initially, looking at your case and saying, man, oh man, we got to find us a good attorney.
Right.
And man, oh man, a good attorney costs money.
Oh yes, thousands and thousands of dollars.
So what I want to do with you is encourage everybody that's watching this, is that it's not always about the money. And this is a prime example of it not always being about the money. It's about being on point and getting your facts together.
Definitely.
And that whatever time you have, especially if you are somewhere, you can read up on previous cases that can help you in your case. And that's what this is, a clear case. Believe it or not, someone had to admit that they made a mistake in this case.
Right.
And this is how Rakem Balogun is able to be with us right now. So I want to thank you for watching. There will definitely be more to come from Rakem. Is there anything you want to add before we?
I just want to thank everybody out there for supporting me, no matter how you supported me, no matter if it was just moral, spiritually, if it was a share, a like, if it was $1, a letter, or whatever, and to also be prepared to support others. We have to start preparing. We understand that we have been under attack since we have been in this country. We're going to continue to be under attack, so therefore we have to start doing things to put things in place, so if a brother or sister come under attack, we can be able to number one, get the information out there to the masses nationally, and two, be able to aid and support that person and their family, because once because they get locked up, their kids still have to eat, they still have to get back and forth to school.
That's right.
The woman, if it's a brother or sister, if it's a brother, he has a wife, she still has to be protected and aided for it as well, and vice versa. If it's a woman get locked up, there are roles that where voids still have to be filled. So that's another conversation for another time, but that's something we have to do, because just from being locked up in this situation, I see how zealous that the federal government can be, and I have a feeling that I won't be the last attempt.
Okay. Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Once again.
Truly an honor.
All right. So